are around here as well. A very well used circuit as well, so it should be a little bit easier. And also, I think it potentially could be the closest race of the season. Daniel Gregor, who's had a lot of misfortunes so far this season, was the fastest in free practice 1, and by quite a considerable margin. Nearly 9/10 of a second was the difference between him and the rest of the field. But everybody seems pretty comfortable here at the Nürburgring sprint variant. And just a bit of housekeeping. So it is a sprint variant, so the difference between that and the GP layout is on the exit of turn 4. Instead of going in towards a left-hand turn for turn number 5, it is indeed a right-hand turn for turn number 5, and then you rejoin the circuit on the exit of the Schumacher S's. So you miss out the Schumacher S's and indeed the hairpin at the bottom of the circuit, and it is the slower of the 2 chicanes heading up towards that final corner. So that's a circuit that everybody is using this weekend. Welcome to everybody watching around the world. If you're watching on YouTube right now, I have got the chat open, so if you have any questions about the series, then you should absolutely get yourselves involved in the chat. I'm trying to answer as many questions. This is what practice is all about. We get to see the cars. The drivers are trying to find their feet, but also any new viewers, well, it's a chance for you to also ask you questions, and I can give you the answers if I know the answers, of course. But also, put your flags in the chat. I want to know where everybody is watching from around the world. Also, some bad news. Mikael Batamba, unfortunately, not very well this week, so cannot race. That is the same story for Sterian Folev as well. Terry is not very well as well, so wish you both a speedy recovery. By all accounts, they're getting better, but just not well enough to indeed race. And JP Southern, I'm sure you're watching from somewhere around the world, is JP. Unfortunately, he had a shoulder injury in the last race at the Nürburgring. I feel really bad because I had dinner with him that evening, and I was saying, "Nah, there's nothing wrong with you. You're fine. You know, you need to man up a little bit there." And yeah, it turns out he needed an operation on his shoulder. So apologies there, JP. Although you're probably still trying to get a bit of sympathy somewhere, aren't you? But yeah, we will probably not see him for the rest of the season, although that's not confirmed. So maybe he has a really speedy recovery and he indeed will be back. So 16 drivers then indeed will take part. We've got 1 minute 40 seconds to go. And if you've not been following along with the championship, Colin Carasani, he is the epitome of consistency, is the leader by 1 point. So he's on 99 so far for Project 1. And then we've got Tim Heinemann for the Toyota Gazoo Racing, powered by Ring Racing Germany. Oh, what a name that is, by the way. In second spot by 1 point. And then we've got Theo Uverhaus, this is the best story of the weekend. He is the youngest ever driver to compete in DTM. He did the free practice session earlier on today. He's got his second free practice following this session here as well. Congratulations to him. Again, I've been saying this for a while. I believe he has the talent to be a future world champion in any form of motorsport. Could be a form of, could be GT, maybe even open at wheel, who knows. But he's got so much talent, and it's really, really good to see him being rewarded. He was P26 overall in his first ever GT3 practice session. He also was in the Spa 24 hour in a GT3 car as well. So yeah, just, his life is a bit of a whirlwind at the moment. But yeah, he's such a nice chap, and he deserves all of the success, so wish him the very best of luck. But he's not deserted the DTM Trophy. He is racing DTM Trophy and DTM. What an absolute monster of a driver. Fair play to him. We go a little bit further down then. P4 is Thiago Vivacqua. Lewis Henkefen then, who got a race victory, of course, at the Nürburgring. He's in P5, and the difference then is around 50 points between the top 5 here. But the way the form is going, the way Uverhaus, Vivacqua and Henkefen started to perform, they are the stronger drivers going into this. So if they can get a good result this weekend, then we might potentially have ourselves a 5-way battle of this championship. But yeah, after tomorrow's race, which is on Saturday, of course, it will be the halfway point of the season. So they indeed have 14 races to the DTM Trophy, and we've had 6 already. Green flag then, 40 minutes of action here for all of our drivers. Ronald Kranitz, how you doing? Hopefully you're all well. Who is the one to watch for this weekend? Mark, nobody knows. It's so close every single week. It is a ridiculous championship. We've had 10 different podium sitters in the first 6 races. Yes, that's a mind-blowing stat. And I was thinking, well, DTM has been... no way there could be as many as that. And actually, DTM's had like 8 different pole sitters out of 8. And they've had indeed 7 different race winners. So, yeah, it's crazy. As you can see, people on the top of the castle here. I'm pretty sure that's a bit too far away to really see the racing action. But maybe someone's trying to indeed peer over. But that is high. That's a whole lot of nope from me, I'm afraid. Hey, Terry Folev in the chat. Good to see you, mate. It really is good to see you in the chat. Thank you for supporting the series, and yeah, look forward to seeing you, I would imagine, in 2 weeks' time. So we are, where are we off to next? We're off to Spa. We're off to Belgium next. So yeah, I'll see you in 2 weeks, Terry. Simon Snell's watching from the UK. Good to see you. Mikey, welcome. Zaviz as well, supporting Moritz. Moritz has got a massive fan club. We might be filming some secret content with Moritz today. Can't tell you exactly what we're doing, but there's going to be something that you will all very much love. Hopefully we get that done today. Oh, it's very hazy here today. The cloud, it's very dark in the sky, but the clouds are very high up. So, yeah, it's not... yeah, we're not going to see any rain. It's been like this all day. It looks like it's about to rain massively. That's what it looks like, but it just isn't. It's just not going to rain, I don't think. It's really muggy, it's really warm, so it's good. So, yes, racing action. Who are we supporting then? Where are we watching from around the world as we see all of the cars now come up towards that final chicane? 38 minutes, plenty of time for these drivers. Karasani, the only driver who is yet to leave the pit lane. So I'm wondering what sort of lap times we're going to see. Also, Papadopoulos is in a different car. So he's in the same manufacturer, he's in an AMG, but he also participates in a European GT4 series, and they were using the same car for both. And with this pretty much being, you know, every other weekend now, for the next we get the next 4 weeks done in 7, I think it is. It's just logistically too difficult for them to have, to have one car for that. So they've got 2 now, and they'll be using 2 across the both championships. So yeah, you'll notice that his car looks very much like Bumblebee. From the Transformer films. It's a really cool livery, actually, and I thought there was going to be some wicked story, but no, it's just a different car. Here is the man at the moment, now, Theo Uverhaus, of course, sim racing extraordinaire now, taking part in the 24 Hours of Spa for my team, believe it or not, which is so much fun. A lovely chap, very talented chap. And then the following week, he participated in the real Spa 24 Hours, and if you thought his life wasn't busy enough, he has to then come to the Nürburgring and do double duty. So he's represented Vulcanhorse Motorsport in the DTM Trophy and DTM, the youngest driver ever. He breaks the record of Pascal Wehrlein to be the youngest driver in the history of DTM. 17 years old. Remember the name, ladies and gentlemen. Has an amazingly bright future, does Theo Uverhaus. The 2 Speed Monkeys drivers here, then Jacob Riegel and indeed Nick Hanke. Indeed, just going around the circuit. They feel pretty confident today. The car looks really quick in a straight line, and I noticed going down in towards turn number 1 that Nick Hanke's braking is so different to everybody else's. Seems to be able to negotiate the bump on the left-hand side of the circuit a little bit better than everybody else. I'm very surprised that drivers aren't getting on the inside of that curb there for that left-hander, but as the weekend does progress, I would imagine they will do indeed. First time then has been posted, and it's Eduard Kauhalper is there with a 39.290. Papadopoulos then with a 41.0 is in second spot as it stands. Moritz Lohner then goes up to 3rd position. It's a 42, then there's a 45, then there's another 45, then there's a 48 of Evacqua. The times aren't really going to be any world-beating times as it stands. It's just all about getting some warmth into the tyres, feeling a little bit confident with the car and pushing on through this session. Long session to go. Massively long session to indeed go. Bongo's from Germany, nice to see you. Slovakia there for Ronald. How you doing, Ronald? We've got AS from Pittsburgh as well, welcome. So welcome to everybody on YouTube. Again, get yourselves involved in the chat. Any questions you can ask away. This practice session, we can absolutely answer any questions. We have a bit of fun, and then the real stuff begins tomorrow. So Ricky Capo then, who was 4th fastest in Free Practice 1, of course, had such a disappointing outing in the Norris Ring where his engine basically blew up and seized, and he wasn't able to race either races, so he was in Nürburgring, you know, doing very little. He's currently the fastest, and he actually did a test session last weekend here as well, and he feels very confident. You should also go to DTM Trophy on Instagram, because me and him did a track walk yesterday. So if you've never seen the Nürburgring, or you want to know the ins and outs and the nuances of the circuit, there's a little 4-minute reel on the DTM Trophy Instagram account, and it's just me and him talking about the corners and what you need to do and how to extract the most time there, as we see a rogue tyre on screen as well. But yeah, Kauhalper, currently the fastest, has just gone fastest with a 36.952. So yeah, very, very nice time there. As Moritz Lohner goes up to 2nd spot, but everybody's crossing the line. Fulgencio now up to P2 with a 37.5. Heinemann in the Toyota Gazoo Racing Germany, powered by Ring Racing, the longest name in motorsport, is in 5th position now, as Evacqua puts a 48.2 in he's straight into the pits. So that's why the time was slow, because he was on the pit limiter. Henkefen and Karasani. Henkefen's on an outlap here, and Karasani is still in the pits. Project One, well, they're being a bit coy here today for sure, as Ricky Capo does a 37.0 now as the time. So the times are indeed dropping here. Harco supporting Hoffman as well from the Netherlands. Good to see you. Boston, Massachusetts as well, supporting Heinemann. Love to see that. We've got relaxation music from Denmark. Welcome. DJ Porsche, what a name, from Albania as well. He certainly does, Michael. That is a fact. I was traveling with him yesterday. He does it on trains too. So, as you can see, we are on board here with Capo, currently second fastest, using all of the curb there through 5. In towards 6, as we've then got Daniel Gregor, who's the fastest now. He is by less than 1/100th of a second quicker than Cal Halper. Ricky Capo has just gone fastest through sector number 1, so he's gone purple through there. Who else? Fulgentia's just gone purple through sector number 2. We've got some lights being flashed. He likes this lap. He loves this lap, actually, as Henkefen, I think, is going to be the one that gets out the way. And into the chicane they come, and he is using a lot of the chicane there for sure, especially on the entry. And Henkefen is coming into the pits. Oh no, he's just getting out of the way. I thought he was going to be coming in. But again, a BMW driver indicating. Very impressive, especially from a young BMW driver as well. As we see Thea Overhaus here bouncing over the entry to the first part, and wow, on the second part as well. And you really need to stay away from that sausage curb, but especially on the second part. And then you drift out on the outside there. Again, it looks sensationally cool. Unfortunately, it's not very fast. So, yeah, not ideal there. Thea Overhaus then into that final corner. And, yeah, a little bit of a scare there from him. And he's got a lot to do this weekend. I've gone in and said, congratulations, well done, good luck this weekend. But I'm going to leave you alone for the weekend. But I will be doing a grid walk on the DTM Instagram channel for the DTM race tomorrow. So right before the race starts, if you head over to DTM Instagram, so at dtm.official, I will go and talk to him on the grid. So I'll make sure we go and say hello to him there for you all. Tim Heinemann then, who started this season sensationally well, of course, our inaugural champion, the most winningest driver, the most points ever scored in the DTM Trophy. He's fastest now. He has just gone and done a 1:36.1 and he's also gone purple through sector number 1. Daniel Gregor then just jumps his teammate and moves up into second. Well, as soon as that happens, Cal Halper goes and put it on to provisional fastest here, 35.943. We are not even 10 minutes into this session, and the times are indeed tumbling here. Papadopoulos for the Celeslag Racing Team SRT, 1:37.876 as he crossed the line there, P8 as it stands. Rumen, we miss Terry, of course. Yes, we do. We absolutely do. Oh, I wonder how long the tyres are going to last. Well, they're on old tyres now. So they get 2 sets of tyres per weekend. So normally what happens is they put a fresh set for qualifying, and then they use those tyres that they qualified on for the race on a Saturday, and then on Sunday it's the same again. So they use a fresh set for qualifying, and then they use that same set for the race. So right now they're on old tyres, all of them are. So the lap times are normally around about a second slower on a Friday than it is the Saturday, and then on the Sunday, depending if we've had any weather, they normally go 3 or 4 tenths faster from there, unless it gets really hot, and then the times, of course, then get a bit slower. So yeah, the tyres this year specifically have been a bit of a struggle for everybody. So I'm wondering whether it's just maybe a stronger grid, and people are pushing the cars a little bit harder, or whether the tyres maybe are just not lasting as long, which makes it so much more interesting for us as well. But also, if they're using old tyres right now and they're struggling to get a car to the end in a race, that means the tyres are well beyond their sell-by date, what they're using in practice as well. So you just can't read too much in. Vivacqua, P8 as it stands in the Audi. Only 2 Audis on the grid this weekend, as Daniel Gregor has just gone recrossed the line. Did he improve? No, it's 2 yellow sectors. Cal Halper, though, still the fastest, a 35.943. Fulgencio, about 1/10 of a second further back, and Fulgencio's just showed lots of glimpses of some serious pace this season. He really has, but he's led a race twice this season as well, and he's just fallen a little bit short. So that consistency, once he gets that, absolutely will be looking to get race victories, I can assure you that. And again, I will stand by it. I think we are going to have potentially 6 or 7 different race winners this season. That's what I said at the start of the season, and I will indeed stand by that. Across the line then for Ricky Cappo it will be, as Hoffman's just gone P15, Jordan Wallace then up to P11. And does Cappo improve? No. So the two sector 2 and 3 weren't that quick. Henkefend has just got a bit faster. The Project 1 cars do tend to go a little bit faster as the session does indeed go on. So we've got some fans of Ricky Cappo here, Tony, Alfred and Bruno. Shout out to you guys watching Ricky around this circuit. As we've got his teammate on screen, Daniel Gregor. Again, he was P1 in Free Practice 1, and he had a massive margin to everybody else. As Karasani has found a bit more time, up to P8 then for the Project 1 driver. Jordan Wallace drops down to 14th as Hanker moves up into P13. Daniel Gregor, sector times. He's gone purple through sector number 1, but sector number 2 was yellow. Still 900s quicker than everybody though. But sector 3, how quick was that? Not quick enough, unfortunately. Oh, Edward Cowhalper, by the way, has just got even faster, hasn't he? A 35.789 then for him. And no purple sectors. There was just green, green, green. So personal best, personal best, personal best. And looking very, very quick indeed. Heinemann about 0.3 of a second slower as it stands. Moritz Lohner is about to come across the line then. And whereabouts is Lohner? He's already P3. He's gone to P1. So Moritz Lohner then in the BMW at 135.650. And this track, realistically, always is the best in terms of BOP. It's much more about the driver for sure here than anywhere else on the calendar, in my honest opinion. As you can see here, Daniel Gregor, wow. That's, again, I'm not sure the car is going to enjoy being battered over that curb each and every time. If you find in time, these racing drivers are going to absolutely do that, as Moritz lights up the rears there, slides it round on exit, and you've just got to try and get your car as far left as possible there through turn number 3 to open up turn number 4, as we now are on board with Vivacqua. And here's some sector times at the bottom of your screen. It's green, green then for Thiago Vivacqua. So looking very, very quick here. He's currently P8. He's about 0.7 of a second off of where he needs to be if he wants to be challenging Moritz Lohner as it stands. As Karasani then goes ahead of his teammate Henkefend. 9th and 10th position they both reside. Around that final corner they would go. Just looks like he had a bit of a double input into his steering there on the exit. I'm not sure whether this final sector is going to be quick. It isn't. So it's not going to be quick, but it's good enough to go P4. So I think if he can nullify that mistake there in the final corner, Vivacqua is definitely going to be in and amongst it and ready to party for sure. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any weather, Bongo. I don't think there's going to be any weather today. Definitely not today. Might be tomorrow. On the weather forecast, it did say it might rain a little bit. But then that keeps changing. Honestly, in Germany, it's like it's turned into the UK. It just changes whenever it needs to. And then Sunday is supposed to be glorious. A little bit chillier than what we've had in the prior months, but it's supposed to be, still nice and sunny here. As by the looks of things, Henkefend is just flashing the lights, as if to say, can you move out the way? And Hoffman goes, yeah, absolutely no dramas. I'm off to the pits. It's fine. So I think Henkefend is ready to start putting in some pretty quick laps here. Estia Uverhaus is about to cross lanes. He'll appear in the back of your screens, I would imagine. No, not quite. So Henkefend then down in towards turn number 1. Here is Estia Uverhaus. And again, what a special weekend it is for him. Around the Nürburgring as well. Big opportunity is that is gravel. You do not want to be going out there. Would have lost a little bit of time for sure. What about sector 3? P11, so not, a little bit faster. Has it gone a little bit faster here? Well, where is Uverhaus? Well, he's P7, so that was good enough for P11 originally, but now he's gone up to P7 then. Yeah, so he's a couple of tenths off the pace. So that time was good enough for 11th, if that makes any sense. But again, they're not on the fresh tyres yet or anything. It's more about acclimatising yourself to the circuit. This corner here, up towards that chicane, the camera does not do justice how much of a hill that is. It is a massive old jaunt up the hill. Moritz Lohner, is he bringing it in? He is. I think everyone's bringing it in now, aren't they? Tim Heinemann? Him and Moritz Lohner and Tim Heinemann have battled so many times on the platform of Race Room. And just seeing them both there in the same shot. Of course, Moritz Lohner being a two-time DTM esports champion. Tim Heinemann also being a DTM esports champion. Actually, it looks like Moritz is being called into the scrutineering. You can just see in the back of your screen there, he's popping his car to the scrutineering here. So he's going to get some checks. And all is good. So Tim Heinemann on circuit, pretty much on his own. No, Vivek was still out there, actually. Uverhouse still out there. Karasani, Henkefend. We've also got Papadopoulos and Jacob Riegel. So they are all out into the pits. Then comes Jordan Wallace. So where's everybody watching from around the world then? I'm watching the YouTube chat right now. So if you want to get yourselves involved, again, any questions you may have, you can absolutely ask me. And if you've got any questions during the weekend, you can follow me on social media at ActrollVision, ACTROLL Vision. All one word. And I will try and indeed answer any questions. The racing this weekend is going to be phenomenal, that's for sure. Qualifying is in the morning of each day, so Saturday and Sunday, and then the races are in the afternoon, around about 3 p.m. local time. And if you're in the UK, around about 2 p.m. And if you are on the East Coast, it will be around about 9 a.m. for you. So hopefully that helps you out in terms of wanting to watch. Just make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow DTM on all of the socials. So at DTM.official on Instagram, at DTM on Twitter, and at DTM Trophy on Instagram and Twitter. Get following on there. You can always keep up to date with all the latest stuff. We put some funny content out there as well. We put some genuine interview content out there as well. As you can see, Vivek there, just trying to get his left wheels in that little groove just on the inside of the curb to help rotating the car. GT3 cars with a little bit more weight to the car, it's not as easy to light the rears up. So you'll see a lot of those cars do that. But with these the trophy cars, it's a little bit easier to indeed just light the rears, spin the car out, as you saw there from Vivacqua. And to be fair, they're on completely used tyres now, like rubbish tyres. So yeah, it becomes a little bit more difficult. But you've got to try and find a happy medium there. And you can just see so many different lines being taken there. Colin Karasani absolutely flying through that final chicane. I'm pretty sure all four wheels left the circuit twice as we come then round that final corner. It's green here for Karasani. Might be about to put himself somewhere handy here. Currently 9th position is the BMW driver. What are we about to see here then from Colin? And well, he's up to P7. So P7 then for Karasani, just under the half a second mark off of the pace. It's got JD Daly then watching from Omaha in Nebraska. Welcome. Good to see some Americans watching as well. We have quite a broad audience, to be fair, for this championship, especially when it comes to the qualifying and the race. You'll see there's a lot of people to watch this championship, that's for sure. As we see Sophie Hoffman now in that number 48, using all of the circuit there out of 4. You see here in the background as well, Karasani doing very much the same. And again, it's a double apex corner there. You've got to kind of take a diamond apex. What that means is you get nice and tight on entry, and you just flow the car ever so slightly wide, because there's like a little a deluge, a little hole in the ground, if you like, and then bring it back in for the exit of the corner onto the apex. So that's such an interesting corner. And again, unless you walk around the track, you don't really see that. But Hoffman is definitely on a warm the tyres up lap here, trying to get some heat in through this kink here, which is absolutely flat out. Hoffman is just going to stay over to the right-hand side of the circuit, and then Karasani is indeed going to go through, using all of the curb there on entry. Doesn't use on exit, and this again, the sector 3 might have been a little bit better than what we had previously, but the first few sectors not overly quick. Tiago Vivacqua also grey through the first sector, so that's not really something to be too worried about. So again, let me explain to you at the bottom of the screen. You can see Colin Karasani and Tiago Vivacqua with their live times, and then you can see the sector times. So right now you've got a 48.84 and a 25.36. Vivacqua's going to bring it into the pits. If it's grey, it means it's slow. Don't worry about it. If it's green, it's their personal best. If it's purple, that means it's the best first sector that anybody has produced. Talking of best first sectors anyone has produced, Daniel Gregor on his previous lap went purple in the first sector, and in the middle sector Ricky Capo did as well. So I think the Porsche might have something special up their sleeve this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. They look pretty quick. I think there's a little bit more in that car for sure. Tim Heinemann, currently 3rd fastest as it stands. It's an out lap here though. So now to start another flying lap halfway through the session, and it's absolutely flown by here. 20 minutes left to go of this practice here. Free practice 2, the final practice for these drivers. So there we go. On the exit of turn 1, sliding into turn 2 again. The tyres will absolutely be screamy. You've got to just edge the car out wide to the right here, using all of the curb down in towards turn number 3. Sweeping left-hander. Use that. Let the curb help the car rotate as we get on board here with the number 63 as well. Jacob Regal in the Speed Monkeys car. Remember last time we were here, there was a massive spider on the camera, this actual pit camera. There was a massive spider there all day. It was just pretty much covering the whole camera. So it looks like the cameras are clear here this weekend, which is good. And that is an immaculate looking car, by the way. It is a beautiful looking car. Sounds really angry as well. And they're going flat out in a straight line. So you get a lovely shot here then of the whole of the pit lane. And cars coming down the start-finish straight. I assume we're waiting for Regal to indeed go out. There we go. Out we go. Both of the Aston Martins were at the practice session this just gone week gone, and so were the Porsches. So not the whole field were there practicing. And right now the time's 2.2 seconds separating the whole field. So considering it's a practice session, that's pretty close. Anderson Augusto supporting the Brazilians. Love to see that. Welcome. Supporting Thiago Vivacqua, no doubt. Foxtrot 86 there, supporting the BMWs. And right now, it's BMW P1, it's AMG P2. Oh, what's happening here? Is that smoke coming out of the car, or is that coming from getting onto the dirt? I think it might have been getting onto the dirt. I think we're good here. Cal Halper, who's currently the second fastest out there, and well, through the first 2 sectors, it's a very slow sector number 2, but actually was 600ths quicker than Lona through those first 2 sectors. Is he about to go and put the fastest time there? No, he doesn't. So it's a very slow sector 3. And again, I think the AMGs might be sandbagging. I think everybody might be sandbagging here, to be honest. Very interesting. And this championship tends to do this. Season number 1, everybody was gung-ho at the start of the season, and then as it indeed panned out, the drivers were playing mind games with each other. And then last season, very similar, although Ben Green and Will Tregurtha were just going 100%, 105% every single session. But then we have this season where it's just, again, evolved. And some of the drivers that maybe weren't quite up to speed at the start of the season are really progressing nicely. And now we come through to the midway point of this season. So, yeah, the next 4 races, the next 4 rounds, 8 races, it's going to be absolutely fascinating. And again, if one driver can make a genuine run where they get, you know, even drivers that are massively out of it, the likes of Ricky Capo's on 7 points, you know, he's 92 points behind. If he could string 6 races together where he wins 6 out of the next 8 and then gets 2 good finishes, he could genuinely be in a championship hunt come the end of the season, because everybody is taking points off everybody. Like there's no real standout driver where they're just winning every single race. It's that interesting. And yeah, we've just not seen the best from that Porsche team, have we? We have not seen the best from them at all, the Kuss team Bernard. They've had so much misfortune. Daniel Gregor had to miss both races at Imola. We had Ricky Capo who had to miss both races at the Nürburgring. So if they hook it up, they've got a quick car, they've got a good team as well, they've got a really good team around them. If they can hook it up, you never know what is possible. But on the flip side, there's 2 of them, so they will be taking points off each other as well, which makes things very, very difficult indeed. There's Cal Halpern and the number 18 through. And there's not a lot of difference between the number 18 and indeed the number 19 with Almeida. Their cars are pretty much identical. The only difference really is obviously the number, and then there's a sticker on the bonnet of one of them, which is, again, I can't tell you the difference until I see both cars, as we see Lewis Henkefen there running very, very wide out of turn number 4. And I'm wondering what the track limits are going to be there this weekend. Is it a case of they've got to keep 2 wheels on the inside? During the race, we'll find out. As again, everybody is going out wide. It's one of those corners, because of the gravel trap, it's a case of, I think we just let them crack on. Let them run as wide as they like there. If they stay out really, really wide, then you're in trouble. As you can see there, some open wheel cars having some lessons down there at the hairpin. As you can see, a little bit of the Nordschleife just to the left-hand side of your screen. There's Jordan Wallace in at number 23, currently in P13. Only 1.5 seconds off the pace again. Someone who really has improved over the course of this season. Will happily admit that he wasn't quite at the pace when it came to the start of the season, but his improvement's been incredible. And again, that's a lot of credit to the FK Performance team. Ben Green's here this weekend again as well. He did the track walk with the guys, and some of the tips he was giving them about the circuit, again, I'm not going to mention them live, of course. I want to be respectful to them that they allowed me to walk around with them. But yeah, some of the tips, you can just tell they're just things that you're going to instantly gain time as a driver. I felt like I could go out there and drive with some of the advice Ben was giving, but then I realized that I am a lot of success ballast. that is a lot of success ballast putting me in the car. So yeah, probably not. But yeah, he is having a massive effect on all of the drivers within that team. Fulgencio, of course, Moritz Lohner, of course, Terry Folev is not here this weekend. So they're all improving because of stuff like that. But FK Performance have really built a trustworthy environment for these drivers to be honest and to grow. As simple as that. You know, it's seen as a development program for these drivers, but also they want to see results as well. So yes, it's really, really cool to see that they are all progressing. They're all able to. There's no such thing as a stupid question as well. Like, they genuinely are in a nice environment. Hanka goes second, by the way, out of nowhere. I think Hanka is probably the most smiliest guy on the grid. I've never been near him where he's not smiling. He is such a happy-go-lucky fella. And, well, he is a very fast happy-go-lucky fella right now because he's 0.008 of a second slower than Lohner, which is absolutely nothing. So very much showing some pace. So Cristiano Marquez, he says there's no Portuguese drivers, so supporting the next best thing, the Supras. You've got to respect it. Very, very fast Aston. So as it stands then, 13 minutes to go here. Moritz Lohner, still P1. Nick Hanka is in second spot. Cal Halper in third. Cal Halper's in the pits. Heinemann's on an outlap now, who's currently P4. Vivek was out on circuit. Fulgencio and Gregor are both in the pit, 6th and indeed 7th. Then we've got Karasani and Uberhaus. They are 8th and 9th position. And then in the pits is Ricky Capo. I think that the AMGs and the Porsche specifically have a little bit more in the locker. And I also think that Hanka has made a mistake by putting in that lap time. I think they've got a lot more in the tank as well. Everybody at the Nürburgring thought that Aston Martin were going to do relatively well. And the only people that didn't think they were going to do well were actually this Team Speed Monkeys. I think Hanka might have just shown. Look how wide he's going through that final corner. Like, he's leaving time out there, if that makes sense. He's gone purple through sector number 2. So Nick Hanka is absolutely flying here. And across the line he goes. It's the fastest time, right? Oh, not quite. So still 0.008 of a second, but his first sector was quite miles off the pace. So yeah, his first sector was not the quickest. If he can hook that up, he is all good. But is he showing his hand too early here? Or are we going to start to see these drivers think, you know what, I want to absolutely maximize my time now? But as it stands, well, Jacob Riegel, I was about to say, we had 5 different manufacturers in the top 5. We don't have it anymore because Jacob Riegel, who we were looking on top of his car a minute ago, is now P3. So less than 1/10 of a second separating the top 3. Again, can't read too much into it. Of course, they're all on old tyres. But it's still pretty exciting, isn't it? This sets up the weekend beautifully well. Heinemann and Cal Halper are within around about 1.5 of a second, top 5. Vivek were then about 0.3 of a second off the pace in 6th position. Fulgencio in 7th. Then we've got Gregor in 8th. Karasani and Uberhaus as your top 10. Just over half a second separating our top 11 drivers. And remember, Uberhaus is probably going to have his mind elsewhere a little bit this weekend. So the fact that he's still around about half a second off the pace is absolutely ridiculous. He's driving in the DTM. If you didn't hear, Theo Uberhaus is officially a DTM driver. He's doing this weekend for Volkenhorst Motorsport, and he breaks the record of Pascal Wehrlein from, I believe, 2013. So Pascal Wehrlein was 18 years old when he stepped foot into DTM, and well, Theo Uberhaus has already done a practice session so far today with DTM, and he is the youngest driver ever at 17 years old to be a DTM driver. So yeah, phenomenal stuff from him. And remember, we're going to be talking to him on the DTM Instagram, dtm.official, live grid walk tomorrow before the DTM first race. So we're going to go and say hello to him. Other than that, I'm going to leave him alone this weekend. Of course, he is absolutely too busy for all of the media attention that he more than likely is getting, because he is the story of the weekend for sure. Jacob Riegel is the fastest, and it's by a fair old margin. 2.5 tenths of a second then between Riegel and Lohner. So Lohner was up there for about 15 minutes, wasn't he, as the top time? And wow, the Aston Martins really are now showcasing their skill set. The practice they put in last weekend really is coming into fruition. Lohner in second spot, Hanke in third, Kauhalper in fourth position, Heinemann, Vivacqua, Fulgencio. We've then got Gregor and Karasani, followed by Uverhaus as your top 10. Ricky Capo then, we've got Henkefend, Almeida, Jordan Wallace, Papadopoulos, and indeed Sophie Hoffman are your 16 drivers. 2.2 seconds separates the whole field. We're starting to see drivers really find some time. Maurice Lohner, by the way, is just coming to the pit, but he just went purple through sector number 2. Are they tanking and holding back to hide their strength? A little bit, Daniel Chaplin, because the balance of performance for these cars is kind of rolling, so it can change during the weekend. So it's a strange one. For cars that have only got one car, like the Toyota, it's a little bit like it's harder for people to judge the pace because they've only got one car to go off of. But for cars like BMW, who've got more, obviously if they're all right at the top there, they're more than likely going to suffer the consequences of that. So I would imagine there are teams doing exactly that. And that goes for any form of motorsport, right? It's not even that. It's more to do with you don't want to let your like other drivers on the grid know how quick you are. If you're comfortable around a circuit, if you've found how comfortable you are and you've got nothing to be worried about, and you know that there's the paces there, you can replicate it lap after lap. You don't need to be showcasing that to your fellow drivers. Really, you want them to be thinking that actually we're in a really good spot here. And then when it comes to qualifying, then they start panicking because, well, they're just not as quick as they may have thought, and it's too late then, right? You've locked in the setup, you've locked in everything at that point. So yeah, it becomes a little bit more difficult. But yeah, it's a really good question there, Chaplin. But they're also on old tyres. So these are old race-used tyres in practice. They only have 2 sets that they can use throughout the weekend that are new, and they will not use them until tomorrow at qualifying. So they'll use one new set for a Saturday, so qualifying and the race, and then Sunday they'll do exactly the same. So they have a fresh set of boots for qualifying on Sunday and the race. But yeah, that's a really good question. And again, this is the time to ask any questions, ladies and gentlemen. Nathan, a lot of them are, yes, a lot of them are going to indeed, treat this as their first step into GT racing. Of course, some of them, it's not their first step. We've got Tim Heinemann here, who's, of course, raced at the Nordschleife 24, and he's raced in the GTC Championship as well. We've got Uverhaus, of course, who's raced in the N24 earlier this year, or just merely a few weeks ago as well. So he's kind of making his steps in other places. You've got Jordan Wallace, who's raced a lot over in America. Papadopoulos is racing in multiple GT4 series this year as well. You've got both the Astons, who are also racing in the 24 series as well. So yeah, a lot of these drivers, of course, are very, very young, but then there's other drivers that are, well, I'm not saying old, but a little bit older. Again, none of them are as old as I am, so it's only so much I can say. But pretty much everybody's pretty young. We've got Ricky Capo, of course, as well, who actually in a 7-week break went back to Australia, raced in his Praga series, and won a race over there in Australia as well. So yeah, these drivers, most of them are like double, triple dutying in different championships. But for the most part, this is their main championship. But this is their step on the ladder. The amount of drivers here who they're so fixated on making their way to DTM. And this is the perfect stepping stone, right? You've got all of the people who are around DTM in terms of teams, in terms of the organisers as well, and the owners. They're watching every single race. So yeah, this is definitely a chance for them to go a step on the ladder. So Eduard Kauhalper, currently 4th position. Riegel still the driver to beat, 2.5 tenths clear of everybody. And we've got 6 minutes left here, so... who's in the pits here? Riegel's in the pits, Hanke's in the pits as well, so is Heinemann, and so is Capo. I'm wondering if they might come back out. And actually, looking at Capo here, he's only done 8 laps, so that's worrying that their car... So who's done the least amount of laps apart from that? Well, Daniel Gregor's done 10, so the fact that they've both only done those minimal amount of laps is that says to me that they might be quite comfortable here, and it's a case of they just want to worry about qualifying in the race coming up tomorrow. But if one of them had done, not many laps at all, and the other one had done loads, then I'd say there might be an issue here. So again, we've got our fingers crossed for Capo, of course, and Gregor. They've both had a very unfortunate season so far, and let's just hope that all is good in the hood for them. Wallace then P14 just crossed the line. I'm not sure we're going to see the Astons again. I think they might be done, and I think Heinemann might be done as well. As I peer out, the bonnet's up on Heinemann's car. So yeah, wondering whether there might be just checking a few things out. But all good. No, actually, Hanker is on an outlap now, so he's just left the pit. So maybe we will see the Astons. We're on board, though, with Moritz Lohner, everybody's favourite esports driver, of course. Up towards that final chicane, he will come. And in terms of sector times, it's green sector 2, so not not even. Let's not even talk about sector number 1. It was not the greatest thing in the world at all. In fact, it was like he was driving a Ginetta GT5. To be fair, pretty slow there, as you can see. Papadopoulos then in that AMG, just getting out of the way of Uverhaus and Karasani. So Moritz Lohner then off to start one of his final laps. I think they've got enough time to get maybe 3 laps in from this point. These will be some of the first to cross the line. Michael, my name is Luke. If you want to follow me on social media, it's at AcTrollVision. So ACT. Well, I can just type it in the chat for you. I'm glad you're enjoying the content. I really am. There you go. So I've typed it in the chat for you. And make sure... Papadopoulos has had a spin here, hasn't he? He has had a spin. So what's happened there? He's going slow anyway. Has the car got issues? The car's a little bit older. I spoke to him just before session, and the car's a little bit older than the previous one he was using for this series. So, yeah, not ideal. Car 12 just had a lap cancelled. That's Fulgencio for leaving the track. Are you a DTM trophy driver if you are not pushing the absolute limits of the circuit? That'd be the only time you see drivers on the inside of that white line all weekend, for sure. Sword, no. Yes and no. Yes, faster than GT3 and GT4, I would say. Similar to GT3 in terms of pace. The liveries on the Astons are amazing down here, for sure, 100%. So 3 minutes left of the session, and it's Jacob Riegel who's still in the pit, so he's done. Capo, Heinemann, they're both done as well. Cal Halper, he's just crossed the line actually at 35.7. Times are starting to tumble a little bit. So if you've got any questions, you've got 3 minutes to get your questions in, guys. I'll try and answer those. If you are new to this channel now, Colin Karasani, who is currently 9th in practice right now, is a leader of the championship. He's 1 point clear of Tim Heinemann. Theo Uverhaus then is 3rd in the championship. He's on 76 points. He is currently 23 behind Colin Karasani. And then we've got Thiago Vivacqua, the Brazilian. He is in 4th position on 52. Lewis Henkefend, who won out at Nürburgring, the final race of the first half of the season, or first part of the season, should I say. He's on 49 points. Then we've got Rodrigo Almeida, who genuinely found some serious pace when it came towards the end of the first part. As you see here, Papadopoulos has come into the pits, but he's also been called in for scrutineering as well. So yeah, you'll see him be pushed into there. They'll check what they need to check. I'm not clever enough to understand exactly what they're checking, but they're going to check stuff, which is all we need to know. They're going to check stuff, ladies and gentlemen. We've then got John Paul Southern Jr., JP Southern. He is 7th in the championship, but he's currently out with a shoulder injury. He's had an operation on his shoulder. We might not see him back for the entirety of the season. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. It depends really on his recovery. Again, wish him all the very best with his recovery. I also want to mention that we are missing Sterian Tholev, who's not very well. We're also missing Mikhail Patamba, who is not very well as well this weekend. So into the, you see on the left-hand side of your screen then, O means on an outlap. So Heinemann has come back out here. We've then got Riegel, who is in the pits. And then everyone else like Karasani, Uverhaus, Capo, Henkefend are in the pits, Papadopoulos as well. So right now, the only drivers out on circuit are Moritz Lohner. We've then got Hanke, Cal Halper. They are still out there. Heinemann's going to have enough time. Yeah, he will. He'll have enough time to do a flying lap, but probably not enough time to really warm those tyres up. Vivacqua, who we're on board with right now in that Hyder Motorsport Audi, is currently in P6 in the number 31, and will be probably pushing this final opportunity. Why not? No, Saul. Oh, well, yeah, it depends. Some some GT2s are really quick and some aren't, so it depends which one. It's a bit, yeah, it's more of a specific car answer, to be honest there. And also track dependent as well. So yeah, a little bit, it's a tough one. It's a tough question. I can't answer that one, I'm afraid, Sword. Yeah, unfortunately. So as you can see, oh, that's a mistake there. Just on the brakes a little bit too late. Saw the car get very squirrely. As we have got ourselves 3 seconds left of the session, so Cal Halper will not finish his lap. Well, he will finish his lap, but he will not be getting another one in. Checkered flag is indeed out. That is session over. Cal Halper does not improve. He stays in P4. But yeah, it looks like the AMGs and the Astons have the pace. I think the AMGs and the Porsches, if Capo doesn't have an issue, I'm finding it very strange he's only done 8 laps, by the way, when other cars have done up to 22. So yeah, hopefully it's all good. Remember, his engine seized up when it came to the Nürburgring, and he wasn't able to do either race. So you just have to have all your fingers crossed there for Ricky Capo, and of course Gregor, who didn't race at Imola at all. So it's it's not ideal for those two drivers. You just fingers crossed that there's no issues. Looks like Gregor did get another 4 more laps in actually after the fact, so he's all good. Hanke is not going to be putting a really quick time in, so it will be P3 for Hanke. Checker flag has been received by Lona, Cal Halper, Heinemann, Vivacqua, and Fulgencio. Now Jordan Wallace as well. No improvement on the time. As you can see, they've gone through the slip road and now they're all heading back to their garages. But yeah, Jacob Riegel, it was really close. It is really close, really, between everybody. But Riegel has come in and absolutely smashed the field to pieces. So it was Daniel Gregor in free practice 1 in the Porsche for the Kuss Team Bernard team. But then in session number 2 is Jacob Riegel. 35.414 is the fastest. 2/10 back then, Moritz Lona, Nick Hanke, Cal Halper. We've then got Heinemann, Vivacqua, Gregor, Fulgencio, Karasani and Theo Overhaus are your top 10 drivers. And as we transition and move over to the rest of our grid, Ricky Capo, who only did 8 laps, and again, we're just hoping that that's not to do with the car and more to do with a team decision, is in 11th. We've then got Henkefeld, Almeida, Wallace, Papadopoulos and Hoffman. That's free practice done here. You blink and you miss it, ladies and gentlemen. We've had free practice 1 and free practice 2. And well, the fastest cars realistically going into the weekend is the Speed Monkeys Aston Martins.